call the meeting to order. Hey, Sherry, you'll call the roll, please.
Sam Gibson.
Here.
Carly Whitworth. Keisha Richards. Here. Cindy Putman. Christine McMillan.
Here.
Bill Fox.
Here.
Christy Paley. Here. Bill Gibson. Ann Stan.
Here.
Michael Martin. Tracy Long. Here. Lester Chavez.
Here.
Christy Cox. Barbara Weaver.
Here.
Foster Creed.
Here.
Patty Jones. Morgan Jones. Nicole Williams.
All right, we're gonna approve the minutes first before I turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a motion to approve the minutes from the last week?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, got a second?
Second.
Two of them. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. One little quick thing before I turn it over to the mail there. Welcome back after the holidays, because, you know, I always have to say something, make up something to say, sorry. But, glad everybody's back, and, you know, it's good to be back after all the high school, because we've all been cooped up. A lot more noise going on, because we've not been able to talk to anybody, maybe just at home or whatever, and then we get tired of talking to them. But, good news. I was watching TV the other morning there, and they said, groundhog, we're gonna have some early spring. Now, some of you are probably thinking I watched the wrong station. But then, to follow up on that, the good news part is, to follow up on that, he did see a shower. But also, the newsman said he's only right 30% of the time. So I'm looking at positives. On the other 70, hey, we're gonna have a very good weather something. That's my part for the day.
Way to get started in
Yeah.
the meeting. Before we move into the agenda, since we do have a new face and a new member on the policy team, I would like for us just to introduce ourselves and kind of tell where you work or how you're affiliated, what you're doing to serve on this council. So we'll just start with our board chair and take it around.
Sam Gibson, city mayor, and great city of Birmingham.
Philip Fox, AAAD contracts manager, here's the telephone.
Christy Daly, I'm the regional coordinator with Tennessee Commission on Children and Youth, which is an independent state agency. And I work with 14 counties here in the public government, really with data, information, and really infiltrate, I wouldn't say infiltrate, that's not a good word. I would really collaborate with many agencies and organizations and coalitions throughout the counties to really do the work to better the lives of children and families.
Ann Stamps with Volunteer Behavioral Health, Vice President, Center Director, Livingston, Crossville, and do a little bit of community outreach.
Bobby Priest, I'm in the construction business in DeKalb County and represents Callaway County.
Christy McMenamin, Managing Attorney in the Cookville Office of Legal Aid Society. We deal with civil legal issues, and I'm new. Thank you.
Bobby Brewer, I'm Jackson County.
Patty and Jenny, I'm representing the CSEC program, and I'm working in the guardianship department here, and also admin.
I'm Tracy Long, I'm Medicaid Appeals Navigator, and that's a new position for me. I was previously the long-term care ombudsman in Upper Cumberland, here to help anybody with choices 1, 2, or 3 that wants to self-represent some appeals with concerns with Medicaid. Keisha Richards, I work with Local Housing.
Mr. Chavez, the HR for Upper Cumberland Development District and Human Resources Agency, and me as well.
I'm Jordan Harold, I'm the Community Services Assistant Director for UCHRA.
Sherry Thurman, and I work with
Linnell Godson with CHRA.
I'm Mark Farley, the Executive Director of the upcoming Human Resource Agency and also of the Development.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to request that we go out of order on the agenda. With your permission, I would like for Melissa Hoisington to come up. She would like to talk to the council about the community corrections program.
Good morning, how are you guys? I passed out just a quick one-pager, so I run the Community Corrections, which is the Day Reporting Center, UC Recovery, and Juvenile Probation. And we of course, I wanted to do this because the governor did his State of the State, address, and he moved our program funding from renewable to,
Reoccurring to
reoccurring to
non-reoccurring.
non-reoccurring. So that would mean we would have to reapply every year. And I just kind of, so the Day Reporting Center has been inactive for 3.5 years. To date, we've had 33 graduates and 1 was rearrested. So I count him as a recidivism, even though it was discharged and he was sent out. We have 54 active in all 3 of our locations, which is all of our 14 counties that we all serve. That limits the amount of people going into incarceration. And it reduces the need for communities to put money into the jails. The more programming we can give them, the better. I've kind of put on here just some benefits to programming versus just housing, which is pretty much what they get when they're incarcerated. But for us, it's $35 a day for them to come through the program per day. To house them, and this is TDOC put this out in their budget, it's $106 a day, per inmate per day. And that's local jails and the prison systems. So there's a significant savings there. So just getting you guys to be able to know what's happening and the benefits for your community, and, maybe helping advocate for, keeping those program services going.
Hey, take a second, just give a little overview, because we do have some new members. What community corrections, what the Day Reporting Center is? It's through the criminal courts, and it's, intensive supervision with, outpatient treatment.
Yep, so we contract with Tennessee Department of Corrections, and we do programming services. We run it's an intensive outpatient, pretty much program. The clients come in, the offenders come in, they're in programming Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3 o'clock. They have a case officer, we have a mental health provider, and we have people that come in from the community. Teach them life skills, how to do a banking account, how to do a resume, just basic life skills. We have done that contract, like I said, for 3.5 years. It's been successful. We partner with all of our local courts. Judges send offenders to our program versus sending them to incarceration. We keep the judges updated on a monthly progress report that we do, so judges know where their people are. The one difference with the contract with TDOC is some of them come to us for programming, but do all their supervision through TDOC. So not only do they have to come Monday through Thursday to us, they have to go on top of that to their community supervisor with probation and parole. So some of that we don't have a lot of control on, as far as what decisions they make with them, because ultimately they're the supervisor for that client.
And fair to say, a lot of your clients, they're not the habitual drug offenders.
We don't have violent.
Yeah, they're the individuals that have gotten addicted and probably more the first time in the court system, they've done something wrong because of the addiction, and the judge is able to look at them and say, we think you need a chance at getting clean.
Yep, so my case officers go to every court date in the counties we cover, and judges will assign them instead of sending them to incarceration. Or they'll do a split confinement. You're gonna serve 30 days, 1 day every Saturday until you get 30 days. But you're gonna go to programming. I'm gonna find out and know what we take successes and struggles before the judges. We want them to know these are doing good, but maybe this one's not attending like they should be. I'm gonna take them in front of the judge, because that's the person that can get them where they need to be. So we participate a lot with community partners, mental health, financial, health departments. There's a lot of community involvement in all of our communities that we cover. And the more we utilize those resources, the less on communities it's gonna cost.
And 1 out of 33 is pretty daggone good, success rate.
Yes.
And if that would just have its, charges drop.
And, I mean, we have 54 active right now. That's the most active we've been in 2 years. So we have, that first 2 years, it was low, but we're up to 54, and we have 3 locations, and that's it. But we've had to reduce staff because of reduced budget funding from PDOC. So. But I just wanted you guys to have a brief kind of overview of kind of how all those go together.
And one of those things, we're working with the administration, trying to figure out what is going on. We don't know if it's just one of those things, because this is the governor's last budget. If he's moved other stuff to non-reoccurring as a way to say, all right, well, as I go out the door, I'm making some changes, or what, we just haven't been able to get those answers. We won't go ahead and start putting it out, to the advisory, policy council and to others. We'll be updating our board coming up in a couple weeks. Just need to get that word out, because we do believe it's a successful program, and I'm sure the judges, I can tell you, the judges will want to keep it going on, and hopefully they'll get on board and support it as well.
Melissa,
Yes.
Melissa, refresh our memory, where are the centers located? You've got one here?
So I have one here in Cookville, I have one in McMinnville, and one in Carthage. The benefit of them also coming to this program, we take them to their appointments. We take them to and from if they don't have transportation, because those are the main reasons they end up violated and back in custody. Is they've got meetings, they can't drive, they don't have driver's license. We take them to all of those. We do all of that stuff in collaboration with another program, the UC Recovery. So there's a lot of resources all wrapping around one person that's in that program. And if you've got 19 people helping somebody rehabilitate, I think that's a win all the way around. We can get them back home and rebuild that community tie.
One thing I wanted to say too is
Yes.
my position is actually sponsored wholly currently by the IOLTA grant, IOLTA, it's through the Tennessee Bar Foundation. So if you're encouraging self-representation in the court system, they really do, look to fund those positions too. I know they fund, the legal aid, but they were so kind working with us, and they support domestic violence programs. So if that's something they want to reach out, typically end of September is you have like a 30-day, end of August, end of September, and they give that grant January 1st. But they're really wonderful to work with.
Thank you very much. We like to collaborate with this because they all have to take certain courses. If they don't have GED, they have to take GED or HiSET. There's things they have to accomplish. There's 3 phases, well, technically 4. They have their intake phase, their phase 2, their phase 3, and then they move into what's called aftercare. That aftercare is they still meet with clinical, they still meet with case officers, still have home visits. We meet with our clients at least. Phase 1 is 4 days a week, plus home visits, plus pop-in drug screens. Your average probation or parole officer sees them once every 2 to 3 months. What can happen in 1 to 3 months without somebody being there to support that? Thank you.
All right, we will just proceed. Sherman, the next thing in your binder, you will see, our dashboards with community services numbers. We like to just share these. We don't go over them word for word. As always, if anyone has questions, I'm more than happy to delve in. But today, we really want to focus on our needs assessment process, but I wanted just to highlight a few things on the dashboard. Every October is when, if we're gonna update or change what we're measuring, that's when that would occur. And so for beginning in October, we have added general assistance that we're tracking and CSPG services that we're tracking. And we're just getting everybody used to capturing this information. It's things that they're doing on a daily basis. The general assistants say that we have donated items, or there's services that we provide. Maybe we have some closets that have hygiene kits, or maybe we have some canned food that we're providing to folks that need that. That's what's counted under general services. As you look at the CSPG services, that could be a variety of different things. CSPG is the Community Services Block Grant. We can help folks with application assistance that is not for UCHRA programs. We can work with them on budgeting. We can help them apply for cell phone assistance, help them set up emails, help them complete job applications, help them search for jobs, help them develop that resume. So things that our county offices were doing on a daily basis, we really weren't capturing, and so we've now started trying to capture these items that are really some soft skills training and things like that. So just wanted to point that out. We pulled weatherization referrals off this dashboard, so that is kind of what we pulled off. But what we really want to focus on today is the needs assessment. And so what I would like to do in front of you, you see a list of questions. We do a big survey with our needs assessment. We do this every 3 years. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Jordan Harrell. Jordan leads this process and would like to get some input from all of our policy council. So Jordan?
Thank you for having us today, everybody, and I saw several of you already looking at this and filling it out. I want to thank you for reviewing that. I want to back up a little bit and just let you know what our last top 5 needs were, and this was in 2023. Our needs were higher paying jobs, access to affordable housing, quality job opportunities, resources for individuals who are homeless, and access to mental health services. So those were the top 5 that we saw the last time we did this assessment. And this questionnaire, we give it out to all of our county offices who then get participation from clients. We want to invite you to be very active in this process with us this year in getting this questionnaire out to your partners, your own customers and clients, and out to your neighborhoods. So today, we would like to take time to just review this together. So we will give you time on each page to look at the questions, and we would like feedback from you all on if there are things we've missed, if there are things you feel like we need to highlight more. So I will just go through this with you all. The first 2 pages, front and back, is our demographics. And the reason we have to get demographics is it really helps us hone in on the populations that we need to assist the most. We can't just have a list of needs, we really need that demographic information as well. We did put a disclaimer up at the top saying that all of the information is kept very confidential and why we are using and asking for this information. Does anyone see any demographics that you feel have been left off that you think we need to ask? A lot of this is based on our community services block grant, so we really look at our reporting metrics and what they require from us to help guide us with those questions.
And also let us know if the language appears unclear or someone might struggle understanding the way we've written the question.
I would just say for number 4, I know on the next page it has other in a write-in spot. I would suggest putting it on the front page so that, because as I was reading it, and then, people don't really flip to page 2.
Yes,
and
now, thank you. We have also wondered, as we go through this, you will see some areas that we did put other. If you don't feel like that should be a category, please let us know. Sometimes if people choose that, it has been hard to track what their answer was in the past to that other category. So if you see that anywhere that you feel like is not applicable, please let me know that as well.
On number 6, I know that it would, fall under unhoused, but we have a lot of people living in cars, so I don't know if that means, how you can put that in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Number 8 on the second page, prefer not to say. Why would you not want to answer that?
Yeah, I want everybody to want to answer that because we are really supposed to be targeting those with low income, but we do want other incomes answering this questionnaire as well. I just put that there because I wasn't sure if some would be comfortable answering that question.
So you kind of feel that maybe that could be removed so that we could have someone select either one?
Okay. Are there any roles on number 9 that we have left out there? That you feel you have connections with and could be an active group with this survey? Okay, we're gonna move on to part 2, and all of these groups, again, are very specific to our community services block grant. I didn't want to get too many questions in each category, because I want to make people to maintain their focus on it and fully answer the survey. So if you see that any of these questions are redundant, or you feel like I should take it out, please let me know that as well.
And also, as you're reading, is there, these questions tweaked just a little bit to give you information that you need for your organization? Because we want this to be helpful, and if there is something that we could tweak that would help all of us, or help your organization get good data, we want to do that, because we want to let anyone that wants to use this needs assessment add that to your data and use this as well.
You will see we did put some questions in there about safety. We tried to be very, conscientious of how we asked that, and at the back of the survey, we gave some resources, because anytime you ask somebody about their safety and where they're at, you always need to follow that up with resources for that individual. So for anyone who is more connected to the domestic violence, world, if you have any kind of input there that you feel like, we should reword anything throughout the survey. We are also really trying to get information from our most vulnerable populations, which oftentimes is our seniors. I believe they were the number 1 population in our last survey that was noted as the highest needs, and most often overlooked. So we want to be able to capture that as well, and kind of abuse. We have some education and cognitive questions on there. Something we added in this year that we did not have last year for the education and cognitive development is that technology piece. So we see a lot of times there's populations, that don't have that technical education. They can't use the computer. Everything requires an email address or some kind of online presence, even our own services now. So we are seeing that that is a gap for several. So we put that in there this year, and we did not have that last year, or last time we did our survey. Everybody just stop me if you have any questions, okay? There is an income, infrastructure, and asset building. So that's all about financial stability, household income, and what the biggest financial challenges are that our households face in the Upper Cumberland. I find number 4 particularly interesting, to just kind of gauge, are there things that individuals are missing out on because they are trying to budget? Specifically, like, are they cutting their prescription medication in half to be able to purchase food, or to be able to put money towards their bills, that sort of thing. That was something we really didn't hone in on last time either. And with our services with UCHRA, we are very senior focused, and so we are seeing those needs all the time, especially when income goes down. Our seniors really trying to stretch that dollar in creative ways, so we wanted to capture that. Housing, it is probably always going to be in the top 5, I assume. I just have 3 questions on there about housing. what the current housing situation is, if they feel it's affordable, and what types of housing challenges that they face.
Can I make just a plug right there?
Yes.
We are hosting in this room on March 5th, a group, it's a statewide think tank called Sycamore Institute, and they have been doing a lot of great work on housing and all the housing related issues that's causing the unaffordability that we are facing in Tennessee. They did a statewide event, a year or so ago. Has it been a year, Jesse? Close to a year. And then what they're wanting to do is roll out some regional meetings, so they have reached out and asked if they could use our room, and certainly we are trying to support that any way we can. So, if you've got local leaders that are really interested in the housing situation, why it's so unaffordable, what some things that local communities can do to improve that, I would encourage you to look for that in March 5th here in this room. It's, the Sycamore Institute.
Do we have a time for that?
Yeah, I think it starts at 11, and Sherry, you can send out reminders of that.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything to add through the housing section? Okay, we are going to move on to the health and social behavioral development. We have questions in there about healthcare, overall physical and mental health, overall well-being, and nutrition.
Hey, can I stop there? Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What are you seeing on housing in your communities around DeKalb County, Jackson County? Are people building more housing? Are you seeing construction going on? All lakefront, probably a lot of.
It's like downtown there.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of apartments and, apartment complexes and small houses.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Love the
That's what
interaction.
this,
Yep.
yes, that's what this is for. We have been curious, food insecurity fell out of our top 5 for the first time in years and years, right? So we are interested in seeing, what comes of that this cycle, this year. We've been having mixed feedback about being able to get the amount of food that our residents were getting when we had the commodities program. So we will see there. I know that, there are a lot of food resources inside our school systems, and I see our school systems being very active with sending boxes and food home, so I think that that's very helpful. I think that probably contributed as well to getting that food insecurity on the top 5.
Since Second Harvest, but not just Second Harvest, you've got a couple different
Yeah.
agencies have taken over commodities. Are you seeing food still being distributed across your community, or is that?
I'm being notified. The second, where the second harvest is, what the time frame is, what location. I've not really personally seen anything. So how do I know where I'm supposed to go, what time of the month, what day of the week, whatever? So,
I think that they do less of blasting it out and encouraging more folks just to use their website, right? And so that can be very challenging, I think, for some folks
Well,
to
especially the
find
seniors,
it.
I mean, you know, how many times you have a senior's got a cell phone that their grandchild set up for them? And they basically know how to maybe answer, if you leave them a voice message, they don't even know how to get a voice message, let alone read whatever's going on, plus they don't have data, they don't have internet. They can't afford that, food's more important than the internet is.
Yes.
You know?
So that is something that we have asked all of our county offices to be very familiar with all of the Second Harvest events in their county, all the food resources. So Patty, you could reach out to the local HRA and make sure to tell everyone that you know about it. If they're struggling finding food resources in their county, that is something that our local office can help point them in that direction.
Y'all are county coordinators,
Yes.
are y'all getting notified when they're doing their distributions?
Yes.
That was mixed.
Mixed,
So
okay.
I was like, yes, out of Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's coming out of Chattanooga. That was a great partnership and a great transition. seems like most everything kind of stays the same for Van Buren County.
I called UCHRA about 3 weeks ago, and they told me they thought it was gonna be sometime around the 17th, 18th of February, but I've had nobody to confirm the date or the place, but I know that it's usually either way at our fairground. And the quantity is a lot less.
So maybe Brandy can work on confirming some of
Yeah,
those.
so it's February the 18th from 10 to 11, and they're actually gonna have a mobile market there as well. You can either walk up to the market and get your produce, and then, or they can bring it to your car, and then they'll have the food distribution as well. So they have a little bit more going on this time too. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you, Brandy.
What day would you say it was?
February the 18th at the fairgrounds. They pretty much distribute it the same way that we did to try to keep it moving smoothly for all of the citizens in the county.
I think one of the problems we're seeing is they're only there for an hour. And a lot of people they pull out when that hour's up.
So that's some good messaging, hopefully that, that we need to make sure that people understand the time. With UCHRA, you had a 3 or even a 4-hour window. Right now, you have a 1-hour window, so that's a good thing to make sure that we're updating our customers and clients about.
I have another, if you pick up for somebody, it's a sealed up box and it's just a little bitty box. See, I pick up for blind people, for people on dialysis, for people in wheelchairs, and I think that's not really fair.
Right. The quantity, lower quantity.
If the quantity is really low, when you pick up for someone.
Maybe Brandy can do some advocating, in Jackson County. So why don't you, for real, get with Brandy and talk about some of those concerns, and then maybe Brandy can work and reach out and share your concerns. Maybe they're not thinking about that. Maybe they're thinking that someone's just trying to get extra boxes or something. And so if we, let them know why someone's picking up, and if these folks are truly in need, maybe they would work and change and relax some of those. It can't hurt to ask. And I think Brandy would be very open to help and advocate for that.
Do you think it would be possible to get Central Harvest to maybe do an automated, like, phone service saying, hey, we're gonna be in your area, if they had signed up for, like, if we signed up for grandparents, like my grandma just recently had to go back to a house phone because like she pointed out, she can't see it, she can't do anything
Right.
with it. But if they could do like an automated, just, hey, this is something they've made up, we're gonna be in this county at this time at this place, and not send it out to,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be something, you can always ask. I don't know how well they keep up, like with some of theirs, I don't know that they get names and stuff, right? So I think the best way would probably be for our county offices and us just to keep blasting things out on social media, making sure all of our partners know all the information we know, so then share it that way. But, I mean, Keisha, it's always a good thing to talk. I know you're a great advocate also, so talking to that East Tennessee Second Harvest and just sharing your concerns. I think they're very open to hearing our concerns, and they really are looking for community partners. And if you're able to do that without having costs associated, that'd be another way to really get in and know how things are running.
I think the part about, them only being there for an hour, sometimes, especially in Burstown, which we have it, they'll be there in the morning, we have ours tomorrow. And, we try to advertise on our sign, and we also try to get it on Facebook, try to get the word out. But, we're fortunate, we have some good help. I'll let our people from the city that's available try to help too. And, they don't like it sometimes, but I believe they see that we are a benefit. But when the truck is there, we're ready to help them unload it and get it organized. And, they kind of come in sometimes and think, what are y'all doing? You should be doing this, because we know, we can look, if there's gonna be, if we're gonna have 150 people that we're preparing for, we've got some some girls there that have been working with Pickett County for a long time and really good, and they can pretty well run it. And they'll have the bags open and start putting, 3 cans of this, 2 of this, and they kinda get excited saying, what are y'all doing? But we're trying to get it ready, because like I say, 10 to 11 it's not enough time. And if people are there lined up, and we'll have people lined up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, being there. So once we get it all ready to go, hey, we let them start coming through and try to get it. And hopefully, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of people come and get most of it, but, we try to. But sometimes though, we don't really know, because tomorrow is even a little different than some of the times before, so we never know, how are they gonna do it? Are you gonna sign up today, or is it just one of the walkthroughs where anybody, sometimes we don't have, any idea which one or how they're gonna do it. It's not really consistent, so we just kind of go by whatever happens, I guess.
I will talk with Second Harvest as well to see if we can network some kind of newspaper article. Since it is not like UCHRA used to be, where we had it on a certain day of the week, every other month, and we'll see how that goes too.
Ours is pretty well regulated. Every other month, and it's usually the first Thursday of the month, so it is pretty regulated, and so we pretty well know when it's gonna be, and so a lot of other people that are.
The 18th on a Wednesday.
Yes.
That's good for our senior citizens.
Thank you all for all the feedback there, I really appreciate it. Our last.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
I've got a question, it just come up and thoughts, and I come up with some of these crazy thoughts. But we talk about housing and how it's going up and everything, but we're a very small community. If we've got some Pickett County people related or close to it or whatever, and Ocean and Federal, same way, our population hasn't really increased over all that much. We don't have any housing available. If there's, people are looking for a place to rent, and you have maybe some apartments and places, where are these people coming from, and what's happening? I mean, Puckett County, they're building and building and building, and they're, we got waiting lists. What's happening? Is it just the fact that we're kicking our kids out, they've got to find a place to live? I mean, people call me, you know where we can rent a place, and our population's not increasing, but yet there's nothing available.
What you're seeing is the same thing happening in Nashville and the larger cities, just at a smaller scale. As cocoa grows and that market pushes out, a lot of people that have traditionally lived and worked in Cookeville are moving to the White Counties, the Overton counties, and it just continues to spread out. So you're probably getting people from Overton County that they probably still consider themselves Overton County people, but they're actually living probably in a Pickett County address now.
We'll send them back.
It's affordability also. When you have an apartment that's $1,200 a month, what job do you have that you can afford that?
Now, let me touch on that, because we have worked with developers, we've tried to, there are people out there groups and organizations that are based more around the Nashville, the Knoxville, the more metropolitan areas, that what they do is what's called workforce housing. So they do it based, and there's tax subsidies and things like that will come in and help them build and keep the rent at a reasonable rate. And what they do is they set it on what the average income for that community is. So it makes it more affordable. Those individuals are just now starting to look, because everything is sold in the Nashvilles and the Wilson counties, and they're coming our way. So I have no doubt in time, you're gonna start seeing more affordable housing being developed in not just Cookeville, but all the surrounding counties. It's just gonna take time for those individuals to realize they can make money here just as they can in Nashville or Knoxville or Chattanooga. So, cause we're already having contractors and developers express interest that do that type of housing. They're not committed yet.
the individuals that we have staff going into the homes to see them and help them with daily activities. A lot of times they just really need some companionship, and we may be their only form of that. Then in a typical week, how many times do you have a meaningful conversation with a friend, family, member, or neighbor? So that is to kind of gauge that loneliness factor as well. Because in the past, we have just talked about how, if you're involved in your community, you know, we really feel like we're missing that, piece of how many people do we have sitting at home in isolation? So that's why those questions were asked, and it was kind of framed differently than you have seen in the past. Does anybody have anything to add to that civic engagement or community involvement piece that they think is important? For the rest, Patio, were you about to say?
Yeah,
Okay.
I worked at the Albany Senior Center for a little bit, under CSEC.
Yes.
There are people that don't have ways and means to get to those locations. Some of the people did ride the bus, which was really good, but other people don't know how to navigate that system either. Do any of the senior centers have, like a van, some type of transportation that they offer for those 1 or 2 days a week?
I don't know if they offer transportation though. You have several that have vans that they use for their outings.
Great, and not for.
Sure. Ollie, are you
Yeah.
familiar or anything?
Oh.
You
want to do it together?
Got both of us. Yeah.
Ollie or Megan, you're more likely to work at one of these.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm Holly Monteith, I'm the transportation director, and to answer your question, I'm gonna speak on a public transportation perspective of it, and then the better Holly will tell you about the senior center side. But, so, we do a lot of senior center transportation, and that's actually how we got our start. Back in the 80s, that was our number one job, was to get people to and from the senior centers, and Allgood was our first location. So it's kind of coming back full circle. We do provide transportation to and from the senior centers, and to address your question regarding navigating that system, which I completely agree, you know, it can be overwhelming and it can be scary for people. So we have what's called a mobility manager, and that's her job. Her name's Jacqueline Medley, and what she'll do is she works directly with senior centers, and then she also works with the riders. So for example, you've got a gentleman or a lady who's interested in riding the bus, but they just don't know how. They'll reach out to Jacqueline. Jacqueline can schedule a one-on-one conversation. She'll even go out to their home, and she'll ride the bus with them for the first 1, 2, 3 times, whatever it takes for that person to feel comfortable using public transportation. Now, and then, you know, sometimes they're even going to be, depending upon where they live, they might be able to ride our road buses, which are the city routes that come around every loop. And she's well versed in that as well. So there's lots of opportunities for people who want to get to the senior center, and that's not just here in Cookville, that's in all 14 counties. That opportunity is available, as well as the mobility management piece.
And that is initiated through the senior center administration?
It can be any way. I mean, if you give me a name and you say, hey, this lady would be interested, I'm gonna take that to Jacqueline.
Okay, I'm gonna use an example.
Yeah.
I'm 86 years old.
Okay.
I wanna go to the thank you. I wanna go to the senior center in White County.
Sure.
Okay, which is no longer considered a senior center, it is an activity center.
That's
Is
right.
that-
Yeah.
Which threw me off. I wanted to go to the senior center.
Holly can talk
But
about
anyway,
brain drain.
there's a phone number for that location. I can then call that person, because I don't know who this other person is you're telling me to go
Right,
to.
right.
So if I call the administrative people at that center, they would be able to connect me.
They can, and you know, the one good thing too, if you're familiar with our agencies, you know, we try our very best to go out, and Jacqueline's been to every senior center in the Upper Cumberland, but sometimes we forget. Or they'll catch somebody answering the phone who's never had the opportunity to meet Jacqueline. So they don't know about it either, and then it comes this loop, the cycle of, well, I don't know. But your UCHRA county coordinator is going to know exactly who to put you in touch with. And that's, at the end of the day, that's who you're gonna call to set up your ride. So you've got two options. You can go to the senior center directly, and hopefully we've done a good enough job communicating about Jacqueline and our services. But if you kind of hit a roadblock there, then your UCHRA training coordinator is gonna be able to put you right with her.
How many 86-year-olds know about UCHRA?
Well, I hope a lot.
Hopefully all of them.
You see, I know, you see. Well, I'll take you have a lot of riders.
When I started in the CSET program, I learned about what y'all do for the first time.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, people don't know about our services until they need our services, right?
Right.
So why, if you're driving a vehicle and you've never had to depend on public transportation, then you're really not thinking about it. But as you're starting to potentially, not be able to drive as much, then you're hopefully, or you're going to a senior center now, then you're gonna start hearing about those services. So that's what we say, people never know about our services until they need them. And it's not because we're not talking about them and educating, it's just not really sticking in their mind because they don't need that at that point in time.
It amazes me, how many vans will we have on the road just in Putnam County right now?
Oh my gosh, probably 25, 30.
You see them all over town, and I don't know how many people I would talk to and talk about UCHRA, I said, you've probably seen their vans, they're like, I've never seen a van. I don't know. I said, you've driven the streets of Cookville, you've seen our vans, you just think they don't process it, so.
Because they don't need that service.
That's
Always.
what it is.
I always relate that to commercials on TV, like, if I'm not in the market for a new car, I'm not paying attention to any commercials on TV about cars, I'm tuning them out, so we experience the same thing to Linnell's point, we experience the same thing with the Area Agency on Aging and Disability, which is the director that I'm with services. People, unfortunately, they usually have called so many other individuals before they finally get to us. So anyhow, and we have somebody dedicated full-time, Jessica, as you know, to do outreach, so, yeah, we're in the county all the time doing that.
Do you know of any senior centers that do their own transportation?
So some of our centers do have vans, but really they use those for trips. They're going on group trips, excursions, but not on a daily basis, right, Kelly? There's not anybody that you know of.
Typically, they just might have one person on staff, the senior center director, and maybe a part-time person.
Right.
So they're just not able to leave the center to do that.
Exactly. Now, the senior center directors do have vouchers. We contract with UCHRA to provide transportation services to older adults who are low income. And so what we do is we provide voucher tickets to the senior center directors, who in turn then identify people in their counties who are in need of that transportation assistance for those who are 60 and above, and primarily those who are low income is who we give priority to. So they can use a voucher is equivalent to one trip, so they can use those tickets and not have to pay for the transportation. And, there's information on each of those vouchers about who to call to schedule the trip. But, I want to commend Holly and Jacqueline and her team for what they do, because they do an absolutely amazing job with that program, and work closely with our senior centers. But back to Linnell's point, until you need it, a lot of times you're just tuning it out. So yeah. Anything else I can?
I'd like to make a statement about the bus drivers that drive the buses. I broke my ankle and I used the buses to go to my therapy, and they are so helpful. The drivers are so helpful.
Thank you for that. We do like to hear, we feel that we've got great drivers and we love them, and everybody else recognizes that also.
Yes.
Jordan, anything else you have to close out with?
Yes, in wrap up, you will see the last question there is about the top 5 needs. So we asked that individuals choose their top 5. So if you will look at that list, just real quick for me, if you don't mind, and let me know if there's anything I'm missing. It's a lot to think about.
Is there a way that you could put it all on one page, or put?
Possibly, and this is yes, I could do it continued, that's a great.
And a lot of this will be online, so it'll flow nicely, but we will, and it's always a catch-22. We will also have some paper copies of that. We strongly encourage, if you're capable, online, because this right here, then we'll be all hand, adding these up, and then having to try to analyze and put those in with what's being analyzed online. But it would be very remiss of us not to offer a paper copy, because we would miss some folks that we really want their information on.
Yes.
So,
I would say to your point about the access to food or
Yes.
food, insecurity, I know we don't wanna, influence the answers at all, but I would maybe put that up on the list, because it gets lost, like even just kind of reading through. I think it's overwhelming for a lot of people to read this list, and I think it's going to get lost where it is right now. But just working at Legal Aid, I know that that's a huge issue in our communities, so I would suggest if you're able to put that up towards affordable housing and all of that, I think maybe that could be helpful.
Okay,
So they see it.
yes. Yes.
Great suggestion.
And these, they aren't, I'm glad you asked, or, suggested that. I should have said they aren't in any order, I just went based off of our last survey. And then we added things to it, and as I was adding, I was wondering if I should group them into different groups. And then I didn't know if everyone would just use the same group, you know, when you want that variety of needs across the spectrum, so thank you for pointing that out, I appreciate it. Is there any need that we've not touched on, do you all feel like, that needs to be addressed or added? And then, as I said earlier, we have the safety and support resources at the end of the survey. So individuals filling this out online will see those, resources as well. Because we just want to be, you know, we don't wanna cause any harm by any questions that we ask, obviously. But these questions help shape the services that we provide for the upcoming 2 to 3 years. So that's why this is so important. And if we don't use it within our department, other programs like UCHRA and CDB can access these, answers and use it to guide their services. And we have a lot of partners throughout the community who ask for our assessment after we are finished with it. So, it gets used in a variety of ways, and we just really need that participation. Our goal is to have this out by the end of this month at the latest. So there will be a virtual option, and then we will have the paper at the county offices as well. We'll have a QR code. We would just really appreciate your participation in helping us, get answers for these surveys this year. And then we will have it open for about a month, and then we'll close it. We can extend it if we see that we don't have enough participation, because we really want a lot of these answers. Does anyone have questions?
So have you thought about sending it out to like our home healthcare workers, just being maybe they could take it with them on?
Yes, we have, like 3 programs that are out in the homes right now, seeing our seniors, so we will rely on those staff to really help us get those, surveys answered from that group. But if you have partners with
yes,
others.
we'll start looking,
Yes.
we'll kinda depend on you, for Cumberland County. Send that to any in-home service providers that you're
Yes.
aware of in your county. That's what we'll ask. You know, we'll send out, when we send out the link and the QR code, of course, there'll be, you know, we'll do some reminders in the email just saying, please, you know, we're interested in anyone's thoughts on this. And we really want participants, we want, you know, younger individuals, we want older individuals, we want professionals, we want different types, we want, you know, trades, but we just want a very good representation of our communities, and not just one group mainly filling out the survey, because we all know that that's not gonna be accurate, and it's gonna be skewed. So we're really looking at trying to survey as many different types of individuals and groups as we can.
What about our local trade schools like ECAT, Allstate?
Yes, we'll make sure to get that to all of them.
What about the students and the home visitors?
That's a good one too, yes.
And, like even, CCRA, they do like a lot of education work with the preschool, with educators, and so those folks, you know, had some, probably had some.
Right, yes, we'll send out to all of our Head Starts, and then we will ask our Head Starts to send out to their contacts and to their families that are in the Head Start system. So I think, was it last year we were around 1,000, 1,100 surveys? We would like a few more, than that. So like I said, you're looking at who's analyzing a lot of the statistics. We do wanna give a shout out to Hannah Rice. We brought her in as a fresh set of eyes. Raise your hand, Hannah, so they can see you. She does Crest and Creva for us, just moved over from the AAAD to UCHRA, so she's helped kind of freshen up some of these and give us a different perspective, so we appreciate her. Yes, Jody?
Yeah, so I had a question on your target audience, and then I start hearing something about workforce and children and daycares and things like that. Is childcare any part of the survey, asking questions about any of those pieces?
Yes.
Because we don't have all the questions, that's why I was
Right.
asking.
And we can send out, these are drafts, but we can mark this as draft and go ahead and send it out to Jody so you can see it, to see if there's
Awesome.
anything
That'd be
that you
perfect.
guys would like to reword.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Thank you all for such active involvement, we really appreciate it, and if you have any other comments, questions, concerns, please reach out to myself or Linnell, and like we said, this is still a draft, we can still make changes to this, so let's just feel free to reach out. Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, that is all that we have, I'd like to turn that back over to you.
Okay, Mark, you want to?
I want to say one thing, and I don't want to take this, I don't want to say negative, in a downward trajectory, that I'm going to tell you, the staff of our agency as well as other agencies around, Cookville and Cumberland County, we've been dealing with a client in Cumberland County, an absolutely horrible situation where a lady just could not care for herself and was in a situation that's just unimaginable. And it is almost shocking to us that she had slipped through the cracks. And it's just one of those cases where obviously she had slipped through the cracks for too long. And for whatever reason, she'd never been referred. We have the area agency on age and disability. We have a lot of in-home. A lot of partners around the table right here. Let's make sure and not let that ever happen again. Where a lady cannot care for herself and is in a situation where it is just untenable. She basically had no heat. She was living in a house with no door, and the only source of heat she had was an electric blanket, and that went out during one of the coldest nights. So, I say that not to depress us as we get ready to leave. I say that to remind us, we have fellow citizens, and this lady is a veteran. She shouldn't be in that situation. We should never let a client slip through there, or anybody slip through the crack. I say that just to say, we still have more need than we'll ever have money, or staff, or manpower to take care of. But when you see a situation like that, and I hope we never have to deal with another one like that. That's the reason why we get up and come to work. That's the reason why the staff get up and do what they do. So I don't wanna turn that into a negative, but I just wanna remind us why we're all around the table. That's where we're around, so. That's all I got, Miss Ivy. I hated to be a downer. You know, you got that. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna be the bright, or you be the bright guy, and I'll be the super guy.
No, I can always talk. You know, and I'm gonna commend some people, you know, because I'm familiar with our situation. You know, the last meeting we were at here, we had a couple of people here that we give a little credit to, and that was, Gary and Debbie Hill. You know, some things on a positive note, things that are really, we really see, we have people that, we started out a few years ago, we had an individual come through and said, I'd like to donate some money to buy gifts for kids at school. And we did K through 3 or whatever, because we had a small amount of money. And that has grown, and we have people that are out there that just love to feel like that, hey, is there something I can do? This year, we ended up with considerably more money, so we got pretty good gifts for everybody in our elementary school. We only have one elementary. Everybody in our elementary school. And to see the kids and them come out there and some of the gifts, and I have to, being an older person, have to back off and let my daughter and niece kind of pick out gifts, which I don't agree with some of them, because last year we wrapped up fart gun. I'm thinking, being from an old school, I'm thinking, what phone calls am I gonna get? things. But we got good gifts, and you know, a basketball that lights up, or a football that lights up, and to watch those kids do that, but there's people out there that are helping, that try to help, and donate money. They don't want their names mentioned, they just want to donate, and we have more money. And this year, it was just wonderful again. So we have people out there, you know, if we know of these people, you know, hell, and I'll throw a plug out, on, Sheila, one of our workers in the empowerment program. She is a wonderful employee, but she's always looking to help people. She came in the other day and said, there's this couple, or this girl that's moved in the trailer, got a muddy driveway, talked to the county road supervisor in to get her some gravel, and didn't have anything. She's moved in and got a few kids, and my wife's a little tight sometimes. Philip knows her. She's Philip's mother's sister. They died, aren't they? And so was needing some dishes. So I got on and finished. Y'all are familiar with, and it's addictive. A-stop, you ever heard that term? No. So I bought some dishes on there. My wife said, what are you doing? What are you buying? I paid $8 and it looked like they're brand new. I said, I bought them to give away. And I gave them to Sheila, and Sheila's taking them to those people to give them away. I mean, there's people out there, but we don't know about them. You know, like you say, we don't know. And if you know, there's people out there that's willing to help and to do things, and so, you know, and there's some great people in this world and in these communities that are working, but, you know, we just gotta get that word out and try to. But she just, you know, we're tickled to have, like the person we had, that we come in and recognized the other day from Pickens, him and his wife came to my office and wrapped 500 gifts. They just, hey, we give them a room and some wrapping paper and the gifts and say, here they are. And that, I tried that once the first time we did. Oh, it is. So we have some. Mark, if we don't have anything, any new business come up, any public comment?